you.
Welcome back to Second and Short, where the playbook is always open. I'm Eli.
And I'm Hayden.
Yes, we got some college football today. I'm excited.
Spontaneous episode. We had mentioned when Penn State was going to make their hire, we would do this. A lot has happened. We're actually going to do two episodes today. The first one, and I just straight up told you I'm less interested in this one, so we're going to talk about it. With it, it's still very important. It's actually what this sport and all sports are at least supposed to be about. The playoffs, the championship, lots of controversy. In reality, anybody who was paying attention pretty much saw this coming after Saturday night. We saw the writing on the wall that two group of five teams were going to be in a year where probably none of them should have made it. Um, Instant reactions.
I think Notre Dame got screwed in that they were always ahead of Miami, and then BYU losing made them think that Miami was better than Notre Dame. So that's my big thing is with Notre Dame getting screwed, I think head to head should matter a lot. So I'm pro Miami getting in. I'm anti Notre Dame always being ahead of Miami till the last week. I think that's just weird and malpractice. Um, I think JMU is going to get destroyed. I'm fine with Tulane getting in. But I mean, obviously, I'm fine with JMU getting in over Duke. It's a flawed system. Bama, I
Which they
will.
put themselves in that position by
Right,
not clarifying. Like,
right. No, yeah, and
it's
I
all
think it
their
should be
own.
five, top five, because it shouldn't have been Duke.
Yeah.
Like, it should be JMU over Duke, in my opinion. And
Shout
then
out Manny Diaz, though.
that's
It's awesome that
awesome.
he
I
won the
thought
ACC title before.
I thought for sure ACC was gonna rig it for Virginia. Like at some point, we were just gonna get the most egregious call, like so they threw the rough in the passer on the was it fourth and goal or 2 point conversion, something on Duke,
I'll
and there
be
was a
honest, I
flag.
did not watch Duke UVA.
It was a good game
I was glued to
to
the
Indiana Ohio State,
yeah.
but there was a rough in the passer, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a holding because like Mensa just went nuts and had a nice play, but and then Bama. I'm fine with Bama getting in. I will die on the hill that if we want college football to stay how it is, you can't make conference championships insanely important. They beat Georgia once this year. They looked bad. They lost. But if you're going to do that, then that's an argument that Bama should have just opted out. And I think that would like that ruins the sport.
Which
So
I
I'm fine with
agree.
Bama
But
getting
also,
in.
I think you would agree with the sentiment that the sport's already ruined.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be more ruined.
Because who is a better team, Notre Dame or Bama? Without question, it's Notre Dame right now.
Yeah,
Without
but
question.
I still take Bama over Miami. It's just like the better team argument's so hard because like I could argue you could
Bama
argue
has
so
looked
many
awful.
I know, but you
Like,
could argue
last
so
2
many
months.
other teams are better than Bama could totally go out and smack Oklahoma and then give Indiana like a great game.
Well, I think
And
that's
then it's
another
like,
thing. Oklahoma, I think, might be one of the worst teams in the playoffs, but also they may have the best resume of anybody in
right.
there.
So that's where it's
So
tough. Like, who is the better team? Because then the SEC is going to get. This year, they wouldn't be helpful for them with Bama, but half the years, last year, you would have said Bama should have gotten in, where it's just like, whatever, over Indiana last year.
I think, and you're not going to like this, but I think that this is the perfect example of 16 team expansion here is coming because
Yeah, it's
all of a
coming for
sudden,
sure.
right, we haven't even talked about three teams who have arguments in Vandy, BYU, and Texas. Texas, obviously, you can be like, well, they're a three-loss team. Sure,
But they're hot.
yeah, they're hot, and talent-wise, they're just as
They have
good
one
as
of the
anybody,
second best win in the
and
country.
probably the best loss in the country to Ohio State, even
Yeah,
with the Indiana. So there's that. Vanderbilt,
their blind resume to Notre Dame. I'm taking Vandy.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know for sure. But BYU, I think, is definitely the worst of those three. And I think I have no problem with them being left out. Um, I wanted the best teams to make it, and also this might just be because I wasn't really a Bama guy this year, but I was rooting for the Miami Notre Dame.
Mm,
Um, BYU, and I like BYU. I like Sataki is that the coach?
yeah.
They weren't there. They're not there
No,
this
they
year.
they look terrible. I thought Utah was gonna be better this year. So when BYU beat Utah, I was like, oh, maybe. And then no, they're bad.
So the 16 team, like USC was flirting there, and then everybody else. It's truly everybody else. It's a shame Georgia Tech. Like the ACC is also very much to blame, not only for just stinking, because I still will die on the hill that it's the worst conference this year out of the Power Four. I still don't think it's that bad. I think that it's just a flawed conference, which
I don't think they're far
reveals that.
removed from the Big 12. It's just Texas Tech has oil money to play with.
But even like the team, like if we got truly the best teams in the ACC to perform at the level they should have this year, I think the ACC is way better than what people are giving them credit for. I think Georgia Tech's a top 15 team still.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely better than Virginia.
I think Louisville's a top 25 team. I'm not. Their resumes have gotten them to the point
No,
where
I get
both
what
of
you're
those teams
saying.
are. Miami, without question, the best team in the ACC. They weren't even in the conference championship
You
game.
can give credit to Pitt.
On a lesser note, yeah, from those other teams, they're not on that level. But yeah, they were a few injuries away from beating West Virginia, and then um, they blew a 14-point lead at home to that Louisville
Louisville.
team that we
Yeah.
just talked about. Now, and Pitt's some guys away, but also they made a transition that nobody was planning on them making. They had a quarterback that everybody was glazing, and rightfully so. He was amazing last year. They switched to a true freshman who had offers from Toledo and Bowling Green. So, yes, Pitt also, I think, deserves a little bit of credit on a lesser note. The ACC is getting a lot of hate. I think the ACC as a conference should. The teams I still think aren't as bad as what most people would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's Miami being Miami in those letdown games. Like they should be 12-0.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have those stupid letdown
The
games.
UVA lost,
Right.
right?
Yeah, they're gonna give
Which
A&M a
UVA,
great
that's
game.
the hilarious thing. UVA and Tony Elliott has done a great job. I think UVA might not even be the fifth best team in the
Yeah.
conference. Like Duke,
And then Duke goes and loses the UConn, and it's like, come on. Like,
Jamora.
I'm just saying, like Duke had a chance to make it. Started to get hot, and then they lost to UConn. They got killed by UVA too, and then they made their way back up. Um, I don't know. I like these games. So I thought for sure what it was going to be last week. I thought they bumped Bama over Notre Dame so that they could drop Bama below Notre Dame but not out of the playoffs. So I thought we were going to get Notre Dame 9 playing Oklahoma and Bama 10 against A&M. I think those games would have been a lot of fun because it avoids that. Like the Oklahoma Bama game, it's like a rematch of like 4 weeks ago. Um, and then, so I think those games would have been a little more fun. Um, they have to go to BCS in my opinion. You have to go to computer rankings, and it doesn't have to be BCS. If you want to, you can make a formula that bakes in head to head if you want. You can make any formula you want, but I just to joke around and pretend like the committee are actual ball knowers sitting and watching football is a joke.
Any committee for anything.
Yeah,
AP poll.
you got a bunch of athletic
directors.
directors. Like, come on.
Here, and this is unrealistic, so I'm not asking on a realistic standpoint. I'm asking, all right, you and I, we're in charge of college football. What are the reasons not to do this? The ACC, as much as we were just saying their system is flawed, they have the best referee system, review
Yeah, that's
system.
really cool.
And why aren't we taping these
Yeah.
committee conference? Like,
Because you know what they're saying in there? Quarterback. Like it's going to be the most basic. They said they watched. I was talking to Kevin.
you know,
They said they were watching the Notre Dame Miami game back. They were probably like, oh, what a catch. Like they're not watching and like actually making decision on who's the better team. And it was
which is
13 weeks
why it's
ago.
not- and they would never admit to it because it's only putting them in a losing
Yeah.
situation. But I think that's interesting. And a guy who I've been very critical of, both collegiately, professionally, and just in general, is Kirk Herbstreit. He has had a rough year. I know you don't always tune into the Thursday night games.
Like
He has
never.
been the worst. It is bad. He doesn't know the NFL. He says some of the most obscure things sometimes. He doesn't know the rules. It's bad. On top of that, you've had the ESPN, Disney, YouTube TV controversies where he was one of the many, granted, media personalities to basically just play the corporate game.
Right.
It's been a rough year for him, and Game Day's received a lot of criticism for them having a lot of pull and having a little bit of propaganda out there. he had a pretty good week, if you ask me. So Saturday, we'll get to this in the next episode, but he called out Saban for kind of having a double standard when it came to Lane Kiffin. But then on top of that, Sunday morning when they were announcing, he said, "Listen, this is against ESPN. This is against Disney. We should not be having a weekly show starting in what
Right.
October, because." And he made a good point. We don't know yet.
Right.
And it made me think to the age-old argument of what is a top 25 win? Is it a top 25 win
At
if
the
they're
time.
ranked top 25 at that time? Or is it a top 25 win if they
Whatever
end up
helps their
winning?
narrative.
Yeah. So let's look at this from a post-season standpoint. Alabama at 10-3. Now, you made the point. It decentralizes conference championships, which is a whole nother issue, especially from the business side of things, especially for the SEC down in Georgia. With that said, if we're looking at Bama's resume right now, 10-3 SEC loss, no, they're not passing the eyeball test. Their resume is not passing. They're still out. I'm taking Vandy. I'm taking Texas. I'm taking Notre Dame. When you do a show every single week and you kind of pigeonhole yourself,
Right.
where, okay, Bama's been ahead of these teams for this long, they gotta stay. Miami, even though they have the head-to-head, it's the way it's been. You pigeonhole yourself, which shout out to him, because they're not gonna get away with the weekly show because
Right.
there's no sports happening on Tuesday night, so
Right.
they're dominating the ratings. With that said, it's very counterproductive to the overall product.
Yeah, I mean, you ask the committee this past Tuesday, so 6 days ago, you asked the committee, hey, who's the better team, Notre Dame or Miami? They say Notre Dame. If you ask the committee yesterday, who's the better team, Notre Dame or Miami? They say Miami. So between 5 days and 0 games played between the two teams, they switched who is better in the rankings based on BYU losing. That's where I think Notre Dame got screwed and they got rug pulled. Again, I'm fine with Miami being over them, but then Miami should have been over them. If it's Notre Dame, BYU, Miami, and you think Miami's a better team than Notre Dame because of the head to head, then they shouldn't be 2 spots behind them. Them being 1 spot different shouldn't mean that they're better than them. It should be who's better. So I think that's where Notre Dame got screwed. Is Tuesday, it looked like, yep, you're in. There's no way Miami jumps you. But since BYU got killed, Miami's now better than Notre Dame. That makes absolutely 0 sense.
Which leads me to the next point. The argument for against expansion is how many of these teams are actually going to win it? Which makes me go. I think Notre Dame was a team that truly could have won it. I think Texas is a team that truly could have won it. I think those are the only two teams left out that had a real shot. Vanderbilt, there's an argument, but I don't think so. At least not yet.
I think the top 7 has a chance.
Ole Miss does not have a chance.
Yeah, I guess no Kiffin. A&M's looked bad. I and
They have a
then
chance.
yeah, but
Every
they're gonna
once
have
in a
to.
while, Marcel Reed looks unbeatable. So
Ohio State in the quarter or in the quarters is gonna be tough. I mean Indiana,
Miami have
I
a shot?
guess no,
You don't think?
no.
Not
I
if
think
Zach
I think if
plays?
I think they could very well beat A&M. I might take them if it's like more than 4 point spread. But I think Ohio State's back on. They're gonna steamroll whoever they get in the quarters.
I agree. I think Ohio State right now, I
They're
bet on them
scary.
to win it all. Brandon Walker made a really good point last year when they lost to Michigan. You are never going to get better odds to bet on Ohio State.
Yeah.
Which, if you remember, that was like the craziest time. And I'm not an Ohio State fan, but my craziest time around college football regarding Ohio State. Like, Tennessee took over the shoe, and the players looked depressed, the fans looked depressed, and then
Then they
somehow they
Yeah.
woke up right before
and
kickoff,
murdered them, and then
they
murdered
they
Oregon.
murdered everybody all the way.
Yeah.
I feel very similar now, and you mentioned regardless of what happens, Cignetti is the greatest coach in
I mean,
sports
we can
history.
talk about it now. We can talk about it in the next episode. I think college football, I don't even want to say casuals. I'd say like very casuals, like people that literally just watch NFL and maybe tune into 10 college football games a year. I think that they still don't understand what Signetti's done. Like, this isn't an NFL turnaround. This is a historically bad program. Yes, NIL and transfer portal
The
helps.
losingest team in FBS
I mean,
history.
it's crazy. It is video game-ish. I
Yeah,
mean, it is nuts.
it's dynasty. Yeah.
I mean, he could never win a game at Indiana, and I still think he's done a miracle. It's ridiculous. I saw I don't know if it was a tweet, an article, what it was, but oh shoot, what was I gonna say? I forget the specific terminology. I mean, it's ridiculous if it comes to me all.
So
Shoot.
Signetti, one of the best coaches in the country. Another guy who's one of the best coaches in the country, Lane Kiffin. And I brought this idea up to you. Uh, you didn't like it because when you sent me your top 25 right after, they were still super high. I think that Ole Miss not having Lane Kiffin is way more impactful than when Florida State did not have Jordan Travis a couple of years ago. And there are a couple of things to look at here. One, Florida State was undefeated and a conference champion. Ole Miss, they're a one-loss team, not in the conference championship, but 14 playoff versus 12-team playoff. I think Lane Kiffin is so much more important to that Ole Miss team than Trinidad, than um the running back. What's his
So I think
Macy? All of them. I think that this should have, and it's not fair to the players. I'm not saying it is. It's still a very good team. With that said, especially it would be one thing if we didn't have a ton of teams on the outside looking in. I am 100% taking a Sarkisian-led Texas, a Lee-led Vanderbilt, a Freeman-led Notre Dame over Pete Golding Ole Miss team.
all right, I'm gonna give you four things and I want you to rank them in importance of them. So like this is what's the most detrimental of Kiffin leaving? A, play calling. B, pregame prep. So like film. C, um, in-game head coach duties, not play calling. Or D, motivation to the team.
Least important, motivation.
Okay.
Because I think that if
He's a pretty
anything,
goofy dude.
plus if anything, they're more motivated now. So
Okay.
without question, then I think the other three are where things get interesting. So in-game management, play
Play call.
calling, and then what was the other one?
Pre-game prep, like film study and any implementation of new plays or offense or defense.
So where it gets interesting, I'm gonna put in-game management at 3, partially just because I think that has a lot to do with the staff you surround yourself with. Obviously, it all falls down on the head coach, and who knows? Pete Golding might have a great support system. He might be good at it himself. Where that, I'm not saying it's not important. I'm saying I feel like that's the easiest for them to almost offset with
Right.
Kiffin leaving.
Go for it every single time is basically his.
Yeah, analytics.
Yeah.
Like there are ways to do that. Now, I'm not saying that it's not important, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying he could fumble huge.
Right.
We saw
Even with a
we saw
timeout here or
Andy
there.
Reid do it last night. So no coach is invincible to it. I also think Lane Kiffin's gifts come in the first two. So I think those, without question, are the bottom two, and then I think the top two. So there's a clear divider there. And this is where I'm going to out myself. I don't know what's more important because I think Lane Kiffin.
I mean, they're kind of one in themselves and like.
Correct. And we had this conversation, I think it was on the air when it was you, me, and Josie, college coaches who could make it in the NFL. And I said Lane Kiffin because he's one of the few guys who has an NFL offense. That's why you have quarterbacks who are lesser than, they play pretty well when they're in Oxford because it's set up. You're reading it as an NFL defense. It's very quarterback friendly. That's why Matt Corral looked like a Heisman candidate at one point. Now he is a backup in the USFL. So, like you said, they're kind of one and the same, but I think those are the two main factors that you lose. And there's also almost, maybe you could tie this into the motivation, but just the intangibles. Like, it's not a Lane Kiffin-led team. Like, Ole Miss is an Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin. And I think putting them in the playoffs, especially putting them in the playoffs this high, is just gross to me.
I
Because you probably can't knock out a one-loss team, and especially when that one loss is to an SEC champion, Georgia. So I get what I'm saying is a little bit obscure, but I'm taking Oregon over them. Texas A&M, I texted this to you when they announced it. They got screwed.
Yeah, they should have jumped them
They
last
lost to maybe the
Tuesday.
most talented team in the country, and that's their only loss, and they drop all the way to 7. Okay? So that is a hill I'm because I almost feel like that's something where there would have been pushback, but there was at least plausible deniability there for the committee to take it if they wanted to. Like,
I think they should.
Mom, you're getting really creative there, trying not to be on camera.
I think they should have dropped a couple. I think they should have dropped below A&M. I think Oklahoma has a case. I would have stopped it at Bama. I think that it is a big deal. I don't think it's as big of a deal as Jordan Travis because it's so late in the season. I think that it's a big deal because he's a great play caller. He's not just the GM of a coach that we see in college here or there. And his prep is probably goes into that play calling. But they have implemented so much over the past 30 weeks, 20 weeks since spring ball. They're not losing any players with him leaving currently. It sounds like their staff is staying intact for the most part. So I think if they lost a ton of offensive staff, yes.
Well, Charlie Weiss left for LSU, but he was allowed to come back.
I believe so. Right. And it's still Kiffin's. We know he was the main one calling the plays. But I think because of all that implementation, I don't expect them to win a national championship, but I do expect them. I still think they're a top 10 team by far, even Kiffinless.
So, I have one last thing to say about Kiffin, and that's going to kind of segue us into the next episode. Before I do that, is there anything else playoff talk that you wanted to hit on today?
Over under half a win for Indiana. Is Indiana winning a playoff game? I guess I could just say that. They're just so hard. It's so hard to say that they can do it. It's just Indiana. I didn't trust them at the beginning of this year. I didn't think they'd get shellacked because I didn't think Ohio State cared that much. Dude, taking that hit right away, I was like, oh, that's it. Like, at least they have any excuse now when they lose, and but I was like, that's it. He's done. And he came back I think he sat one play when his brother came in. That was it. That was crazy. Got destroyed.
Doesn't that kind of seem like that was their Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, I mean
doesn't that feel like
the tickets for that game were ridiculous because
able to get back up.
It's Cignetti. He's the greatest coach to ever exist in any sport ever.
If it was any other coach, I'm saying no.
Yeah.
They put their
Bama will 1,000% be favored over them if Bama beats Oklahoma, which is crazy if you look at resumes and stuff. But Bama will be.
Time, if you ask me to put money on,
you're going Bama. Yeah. Oklahoma, I think Indiana's favored by a couple. Bama's favored, which is nuts. But I don't see how you don't take Ohio State. Texas Tech is another team that I'm just never going to trust, but I think they're good. I think their defense is ridiculous.
I think Ohio State's going to get off the mat. I think it's Ohio State.
I agree.
Which is hilarious that Ohio State, right now, back-to-back years, no Big Ten championship win, only one appearance, and I say, they're probably going to win back-to-back.
They should have lost to Michigan and let Oregon make the
awesome
championship.
Yeah. Ryan Day's going to be in the same position that he's always been. Ohio State fans are going to be happy, but they're going to be kind of like,
I don't know. This was different. They beat Michigan. I think Ohio State fans are totally fine losing to Indiana. Losing to Michigan was a different story. Losing to Indiana in a championship, I think they're like, oh, that's a cool story.
What happens if he loses to Michigan next year?
Then it's definitely a Michigan thing. It's not like a losing thing.
What
Does he win the Natty this year?
Yeah.
Then he's fine. Like, what do you mean? What happens?
Like,
are fans happy, or is he actually in trouble?
Yeah, the temperature of the fan base.
Hot, but not hot enough to where he gets any chance of getting fired.
I agree, but that's hilarious.
Yeah, but I think that's more of just like an instant. Right. But I think that's more of an instant, like, we lost to Michigan, they're pissed.
The best start of a coaching career in all of sports.
Yeah, what is it, like, what he's take over, like 2019? Like 5 years now? Yeah.
So, we shall see. All right. That was part 1 of the Cousin College episode. A little bit of alliteration there for you. stay tuned for the coaching carousel.